This is Jonathan Buckley, public speaking teacher at Edina High School. And today's lesson is focusing on types of messages. Our objective for today is that students will learn the three basic types of messages that a sender and or a receiver can use, and then begin to apply that to real life situations. Alright, so let's get started. So there are really three basic types of messages that a sender and or a receiver can utilize. And those three types of messages are verbal, vocal, and nonverbal messages. Let's start first with verbal messages. Verbal messages are actual words a sender uses. So single words like yes or stop or other words strung together would be a verbal message. So the actual message that you're using. So for example, I might say be quiet, or I might say shut up. Those two verbal messages mean the same thing, but there's some connotations that you might take one way or the other. Or maybe if a student won't be quiet, I say knock it off. Well, if I was looking at the dictionary denotation message, it would be to knock something off, but really what I'm saying is just stop talking, please. So it's important that we look at those verbal messages. Then we get to the vocal messages, and vocal messages are voice sounds, cries, whistles, grunts, or moans. So I might be really frustrated with the class, just go, oh. And so my vocal message is indicating that maybe I'm frustrated or worn out or run down. So that's one type of vocal message. But another very common vocal message would be the way that words are said. So you might speed up, or you might slow down, or you might add emphasis. A good example would be looking at the verbal message of the Packers won today. So verbally, it's just stating the fact that the Packers won the football game. But if I want to incorporate a vocal message, I might say, the Packers won today. Now that vocal message is indicating that I'm pretty excited and pretty happy that they won the game. Someone else, a Vikings fan, might say, the Packers won today. Their vocal message might indicate that they're really not that excited or happy about it. So the way that the message is said indicates a certain message as well. And then the final message would be a nonverbal message, and that's made up of clues like facial expressions and body movements, and they can tell a receiver that you are or are not sincere. So for example, I might say, the Packers won today. My nonverbal, putting my hands up in the air, maybe indicates that I'm really, really excited. That goes along with my vocal message. Someone else might cross their arms and say, the Packers won today. Again, the nonverbal message is also indicating that maybe I'm not very excited about that. So that's the difference between a verbal, a vocal, and a nonverbal message. And I want to make sure too that you're all aware that during a conversation, the speaker and the receiver can send any one or more or all three of the messages at the same time. So in the communication process, which we've talked about before, as the sender is sending messages to the receiver and the receiver is sending feedback, it is coming in the form usually of verbal, vocal, and nonverbal messages, a combination of that, and reading and interpreting what those different messages are. All right? So that takes care of that.